When Ruben Amorim arrived at Old Trafford, he didn't just bring a new formation. He brought a level of transparency that felt like a breath of fresh air in the stale corridors of Carrington. For years, Manchester United fans had been fed corporate platitudes. The standard managerial response to a crisis has been a form of linguistic camouflage. If a team loses 4-0, the manager blames the referee, the grass, or the fixture pileup. Amorim, however, operated on a different frequency. He was charming, blunt, and endearingly honest. The following are the highlight moments of Ruben Amorim's turbulent 14-month tenure at Manchester United. Amorim arrived with the casual air of a man who had nothing to hide and even less to prove. In his inaugural press conference at Carrington on November 22, 2024, Amorim faced the inevitable barrage. Could he deliver trophies right away? His response was one of tempered ambition. He stated plainly, "We have to improve in a lot of areas. It is a different way of playing, changing in the middle of the season. It's not easy. We have to win games first, then think about titles." By December 30, 2024, the new manager bounce had flatlined. Following a demoralizing 2-0 home defeat to Newcastle, United sat 14th in the table, just 7 points above the relegation zone. While fans expected talk of a European push, Amorim offered a chilling reality check. He explicitly admitted that United were in a relegation battle, refusing to sugarcoat the situation. "That is really clear, so we have to fight," he told reporters, signaling a shift from tactical evolution to pure survival. On that same grim December evening, Amorim didn't hide behind clichés. He confessed that leading the club during such a historic slump was a little bit embarrassing. With the club sliding toward its worst-ever Premier League standing, the Portuguese tactician admitted he felt the weight of being the face of United's decline, acknowledging the pain of the supporters who watched their team fall to 3 successive home defeats for the first time since 1979. The lowest point of his first season came on January 19, 2025. After a 3-1 thrashing by Brighton at Old Trafford, Amorim delivered a quote that would define his relationship with the British press. "We are being the worst team, maybe, in the history of Manchester United." At that point, United had won just 2 of their last 10 games. Amorim used the hyperbolic statement not to insult his players, but to force an acknowledgement of how far the standards had fallen. Despite the domestic horror show, Amorim led United to the 2025 Europa League final in Bilbao. On May 21, 2025, United lost 1-0 to Tottenham, ending their last hope for Champions League qualification. Amid rumours that the board was losing patience, Amorim issued a bold ultimatum. If the hierarchy lost faith in his project, he would leave without a single penny of compensation. It was a high-stakes move intended to show his commitment to the project over his paycheck, though his contract was set to run until 2027. As the 2025-26 season began, Amorim faced fresh criticism for his animated, almost frantic behaviour on the touchline. In late August 2025, he doubled down on his personality. Rejecting the archetype of a stoic manager, he emphasized personal authenticity. "I'm tired of saying that I'm not going to behave like this or that. I'm going to be myself." He argued that authenticity was the only way to lead a squad through a crisis, even if it meant looking unmanagerial to his detractors. Perhaps his most famous outburst occurred on August 29, 2025. United had just been dumped out of the Carabao Cup by League Two side Grimsby Town in an absurd 12-11 penalty shootout. A raw and exhausted Amorim admitted, "Sometimes I hate my players and sometimes I love them." He described a volatile internal state where he frequently swung between wanting to stay for 20 years and wanting to quit on the spot. It was a moment of radical transparency that many felt signaled the beginning of the end. The end finally arrived following a 1-1 draw with Leeds on January 4, 2026. In what proved to be his final press conference, Amorim took a direct swipe. "I'm the manager, not the coach," he stated firmly. The comment was a pointed critique of his lack of control over transfers and the sporting direction of the club. By emphasizing that his role should involve more than just training players, he effectively declared war on the hierarchy. He was sacked the following day, ending one of the most candid and turbulent eras in the club's modern history. Ruben Amorim didn't just leave Manchester United, he blew it up on his way out. For 14 months, the Portuguese manager operated like an emotional live wire, with a brand of honesty that felt, at times, like a cry for help. To the media, Amorim was a gift, the easiest interview in the league because he refused to lie. When a team sits 7 points above the drop zone, most managers talk about processes and fine margins. Amorim simply looked into the lens and admitted he was embarrassed. Was this bravery? In many ways, yes. It takes a rare spine to call your own squad the worst in history to spark a reaction. However, as the months rolled on, that transparency began to look more like the behaviour of a man overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the United vacuum. The Premier League's elite clubs are not just football clubs, they are billion-dollar PR machines. Honesty is a virtue in life, but in elite football, it is a suicide note if results don't follow. Amorim spoke the truth, but the truth didn't win him games. In the end, his words provided the very ammunition used to dismiss him. Despite flashes of success, like his October Manager of the Month award, chronic underperformance proved insurmountable, with just 31.9% Premier League win rate over 47 games, and an overall 1.43 points per match across 63 fixtures. As Manchester United transitions under interim leadership, Amorim will be remembered not for trophies, but as a manager whose words were as historic and as damaging as his results.